Hello everyone, this is awesh Vishwakarma. In previous video, I have explained uh, directives, pipes. In directives, I have explained different types of directives like component directive, attribute directive, and structural directives, right? So we have understand use of ng class, ng style, ng if, and in this video, I am going to explain about ngFor and ngSwitch, that is part of structural directive in Angular. So to understand the concept of these directives and whatever you have learned up to now, I'm going to create a micro project based on that learning. Okay, so the intent of this micro project will be to create an employee, like we are going to create employee data. We are going to save that inside an array of JavaScript, and then we are going to display all the employee related data on the user interface. Okay, so let us now quickly jump to that project and create that. So before start, we need to create a component. So I'm going to create a component. For that, I'm going to launch a new terminal. Inside this terminal, I'm going to write ng space g space c space employee. So it is going to create employee component. All right, hit enter. It is going to create a folder named of employee, and it is going to register that employee component into app.module.ts file. Like here, if you see in app.module.ts file, the employee component is registered and there is an employee folder. Now we will be using this employee folder, and we are going to first design our user interface. All right, so and before designing the UI, let us do some modifications also to show this particular component whenever we are going to ng serve our project, right? So let us first go and execute this command ng serve so that the project can start on the browser. On the browser, it is showing the previous learning, right? Like we have worked with directives and all, so it is showing that particular user interface. And for this employee component, I want that employee component to be the root component of the application. So let us just go and change the root application for this particular project. So to change the root component, you have to first go to the app module and you have to change the bootstrap array, right? So instead of home component, you have to use employee component, save it, and then go to index.html file and change this particular selector. So in this case, we are going to use employee component, that is app hyphen employee. This is a selector for employee component. You can check here inside a employee component.ts file. This is the selector for that. Okay, so now I'm going to design this employee component. So I'm going to remove everything from this HTML file, and then I'm going to create a division div. Inside div, I'm going to create another div, and then inside this div, I'm going to have a text field for employee name. So let me just have a table first. Okay, so that table, and table may have a th, first tr. Inside tr, it is going to have a th, and inside th we are going to have employee name, right? And inside the td, I'm going to create a column using td, like table definition, and then it is going to have an input tag, input type is equals to text, because employee name is a text format data, so it is going to contain a text type, input type, and it is going to have a value is equals to nothing, and a placeholder we can say enter employee name. Okay, then close this input, and now I'm going to create another row tr and th. This is going to take input like employee designation. Okay, and then inside the next column it is going to show a designation input box. So it is going to simple. I'm going to create a simple project, so don't use any drop down or anything. I'm simply going to use input box. Input type is equals to text. Inside this double quotes, then placeholder, please enter employee designation. Okay, and we actually don't require the value property. We are going to use two-way binding here, so don't require that. So inside here th employee department. Okay, and in second column I just want to have input type text and placeholder, please enter employee this department. Okay. So we have three input boxes, one for employee name, second for employee designation, okay, this way, and third one for employee department. Okay, let me just toggle this terminal here, and then we are going to have a button also. So in another tr I'm going to create a button in a td, and it is going to have a call span of 2. So call span is a property that means this particular column is going to span to the width of 2 columns, right? Whatever value you are providing, it is going to take space of 2 columns. If you write 3, like in your table, if there is 3 columns, and if you write 3 here, then it is going to cover the entire width of the table, right? So since we only have 2 maximum columns in the table, so I can specify only 2, the max value for this particular table. So inside this column I'm going to create a button, and button type will be a button, and then it is going to show save employee data. Okay, so I'm going to save this file. Okay, let us close this module file and index file for now, and yeah, I have saved it. Now check on the browser how it looks like. So it is showing employee name, employee designation, employee department, and the button. So these are the placeholders, like whatever you are saying inside the input boxes, these are the placeholders. So if you type anything, those will be disappear. So user will enter these details and click on the save employee data, and this data is going to be saved in somewhere. For now, just understand it is going to be saved somewhere. Now whatever data we have saved, it is going to be displayed on the same page here. Like we have n number of employees, and their names are like this, designation are this, department are this. Okay, so now this is done. Let us now go to the ts file and create a model. Okay, so I'm going to create employee model or employee property more specifically, and employee property is going to take it is type of let's say name, like name of the employee. Name of the employee will be null by default. Then designation is going to be null by default or empty string. Then department, okay, it is also going to be empty for now. So this is employee property, and it is having 3 particular properties inside it, sub properties. Now we are going to use two-way binding. So please remember, like for two-way binding, to use ng model, you have to first import the forms module inside your app module. So if you go inside your app module, there must be this forms module imported. right? So if it is imported, then only you can use two-way binding. Now go to the HTML file, and in every input we are going to use that two-way binding. So remove this value property, and instead of that use banana in the basket syntax for ng model, and it is going to be equals to the property name. Okay, so property name for this is employee dot name, right? Employee the model and name is the property of that model. Similarly for designation, it will be same like ng model equals, then it is going to be employee dot designation. Okay, I'm just using this short form of designation. You can use whatever you want, but this must be same as whatever you have specified in this model, right? So I'm just going to stick with these names and using those names in the HTML file also. Then the third text box, that is going to be two-way binded like ng model, and it is going to be equals to employee dot department. Okay, now I'm just trying to display whatever things I'm typing in the input box. So in just below to this tables div, I'm going to create another div, and inside this div I'm going to use interpolation and trying to print employee. Okay, so this way you can also print whatever model you want using interpolation. So let us save it and see in the browser in action. So once everything is like empty, it is displaying object. Let us type something here. Okay, it is simply printing object. Let us now go and use employee dot name in this interpolation. Save it, and now let us type some name here. Okay, see, it is printing the name here. Okay, similarly if you want to print the designation, you can just simply use employee dot designation, and similarly employee dot department. So here it is going to display everything. So I have typed name as Peter, and then designation as SE, and department as IT. So it is typing anything. Alright, so everything is working as expected. Now we have data in our employee model, and we want to save that data somewhere. Okay, so let us now switch to Visual Studio Code, and this time I'm going to save the data inside a JavaScript array. Okay, so in TypeScript we can create an array like this. So I'm going to create an array named as employees, and it is going to be a type of employee, or it is going to be type of array simply. So you can just make it this type. Alright, so employees is an array. This square brackets shows that this particular property is an array. Now let us do one more thing. Inside HTML file we have to register some click event in this button. So we have to use event binding. So we have to use this click, like click inside the parenthesis, and then provide a method name, a callback function name. So on employee data saved. Okay, I'm going to create a function with this name, on employee data saved. So I'm going to copy this name so that I just quickly paste it inside the TS file, and here I have pasted it, right? So this is the callback function for that particular button. So if I simply write console.writeLine, console.log this dot employee, so it is going to print whatever object is there inside the employee. So whatever we have written, it is going to completely print everything on the console. Let us try that also. So Peter, then designation as SE, then department IT. Now I'm going to click on the department, like save employee data. So before clicking that, let me just click on inspect and clear out, like go to the console tab and clear out everything. Now click the button and see. Okay, it is not printing anything. Why? Oh, we have not saved that changes. And then go to browser and do the same thing again. Okay, now let me clear it once again and click this button. See, it has printed that particular object. See, it is also displaying like from which line this particular statement is printed. So it is showing line number 18 in the employee.component.ts file. So this line number is same. If you match it inside the ts file, it is going to be the same. So it is 18th line and it has printed this dot employee. So you can simply correlate here. Now this property shows name, department, designation and name. So it is completely giving you everything. Alright, so now we want to store this employee inside this employees array. So to store that inside that array, we have to use that array like this dot employees dot push. So push is a function that is used to store some information or insert some information in a array in JavaScript actually. So we have our details inside this dot employee model. Okay, so this is going to push that there, and this is giving error like argument of type name string type never. Okay, so it is actually asking for a type. So for now we don't have any type space for this employee, so we can use any for this, right? So any is a type that can accept any type in JavaScript. Like it can accept number, it can accept string, it can accept any type it can accept, right? And by writing that, the error is gone. All right, so let us now do one more thing. So after pushing that particular employee into employees array, I am going to print this employees array on the console. So console.log this dot employees. All right, so if I do that and provide some detail, name, designation, then department. So if I click on the save employee data button and see, there is an array and that is printed from line number 19. So it is having one item, that is name, designation and department. All right, so it is properly working. Let us continue. Now once this employee is inserted in this array, I want to clear this particular employee. Okay, so I can do one thing. I can simply do this dot employees, this dot employee actually is equals to, you can just copy paste the same thing here, like the empty array. Okay, copy and then paste. All right, save it. Now we can just type another name, another designation, another department, and then save it inside that array. So let us now do that. So let us type our first employee, that is employee 1, then its designation, that is SE, then IT. Save. See, it has printed one item, like the array with one item. Now see, the input boxes are cleared, the existing values are gone. Now it is asking for the new values. So we can type something like employee 2, then it may be SLC, it may be in IT department. Click on save employee and then see, it is showing 2 number, like that means this array is having 2 items. So the first one is employee 1 and the second one is employee 2. Let us now do more. Employee 3, it could be JE and it could be in IT department, and save it. See, it is showing 3 items in that array, right? So that means our purpose is served. Now we are able to store the data somewhere in the array. Now we are able to see the data, whatever we have saved earlier, we can see the data in the console. But user is not so much technical, they cannot see the data in the console. So for them, you have to do something to show that data here itself, right? Whatever you have saved, you have to display here only, in this page, in human readable format, or anyone can understand that, right? So let us do that. So to display that data, we have to use ngFor, because we do have our data inside our array. So to display the data from array, or to display multiple data from array, you have to use ngFor directive. That is a structural directive. So let us see how you can display that. So I am going to delete this particular div and create another div here, and inside this div I'm going to have a paragraph tag maybe. Okay, inside this paragraph I want to show, okay, remove this paragraph. I want to display the employee in a table itself, right? I just want to display all the employees in a tabular format. So we can create a table. We can create a table row. Inside table row we can create a table header that will be for employee name. We can create the second table header for employee designation. Okay, we can create the third table header for employee department. Okay, now this is the first row that is going to display you headers. Now inside second row we are going to display the actual data, whatever user has entered. So we have to do something like this, right? Inside here we are going to print name of the employee, like first name of employee, then second employee name, then third employee name. Inside this second table we are going to display designation of the first employee. Inside the third column we have to show department of the employee, right? So there could be multiple employees in the table, so we cannot hard code every time, right? Like this, we cannot do this way, though it will serve our purpose, but it is not going to display the actual data also, and it is not a good practice, because we can have thousands of employee, and how you can create thousands multiple rows manually. So to serve that purpose we have this ngFor directive. So let us remove everything except to a single table row of the data. So inside tr, like whatever we want to repeat, we want to repeat this thing, right? This tr is going to be repeated multiple times. So whatever is going to be repeated, you have to apply the ngFor on that particular tag. So to use that ngFor, you have to make star ngFor, then equal sign, and then inside a double quotes you have to provide the array name, and like it is simply a for loop. So if you remember any for loop, if you are aware of any programming language, you have to give a counter variable, how many times that particular loop will execute, and what on which particular array it is going to be executed, right? So similar to that in Angular also you have to specify those things. So first of all you have to write let. Let is a keyword in TypeScript and in JavaScript, so you have to use let. Then emp is a temporary variable. Let's say it is a counter variable, okay, of employee, like emp of the employee. So this is going to be the array. So whatever array we have created in the ts file, right, this array, this employees array, we are going to iterate on this particular array inside our template. So let emp of employees, so this is going to repeat this thing number of times. Okay, and inside this td where we want to print the name, we have to use the interpolation. Okay, interpolation, that means pair of curly braces. So emp dot name, whatever property we want to display there. Similar for designation, we have to use emp dot designation, and for department it is going to be emp dot department. Okay, save it. Now go to browser and see. For now there are no rows, only the headers only, right? Let us create our first entry. I'm going to create Peter SE, then IT. Save it. See, it is coming here. Go ahead and create another Tom SSE IT. See, it is coming here. Similar to that, we can have we can say J or sales department. So this is how ngFor works. So what is actually happening inside? It is actually iterating through this particular array and printing these properties like department, designation, and name, and then it is just showing this here using the interpolation, right? So this is how you can just use ngFor, and this is a micro project, you can say, and you can just use it to iterate over any array, like it is whether it is a simple array, whether it is complex array. So let us do one more thing just to explain more about ngFor. Let me create an array of names, right? Hard-coded names. So the names could be anything. So inside this array I'm going to have some name SGSM, this. Okay, so many names. All right. Oh, sorry, not here. The semicolon needs to be here. So now we have this names array. So this is a simple array, simple string array. So we can declare this particular names property as string array, right? So this is array of type string. Now suppose we want to print the names on the view, on the template. So how you can do that? So you just have, let me just print that on very top, okay, so that it could be visible. So I'm going to create a div, and inside the div I just want to display that in a paragraph. So in this paragraph it is going to show this SGSM. In this paragraph it is showing it must show this way. So this, I mean to say, like this paragraph tag is going to be repeated for the entire array, names array. So let me just delete everything and use ngFor. P star ngFor equals let name of names, and close this paragraph tag. So whatever name, like in the first iteration, the name is going to be inside the names variable, this name variable. So you have to just interpolate that name like this, and if you save it, it is going to print you every name on the screen, like these 4 names there. Now let us understand what is ngSwitch directive. So to understand that, let us go ahead and create another property inside our TS file. So that simple property, I could give it some number, okay, some num. It is going to be type of number, and it is going to have by default in number, that is 1. Okay, so now go to the HTML file and create another div here, div. Let me just have some caption here, that is ngSwitch directive. Okay, so let's suppose if that property has the value 0, then it's going to print that value as like inverse, right? So for example, if I just print that particular thing here and save it, so it is printing 1, right? But if it is 0, let's suppose if it is 0, the value is 0, so I don't want to print that in a number. I want to print that if 0 is there, then it must print ZEOR, sorry, right? So to do that kind of thing, we can have ngSwitch. So to use that ngSwitch, we can use it this way: div ngSwitch, sorry, ngSwitch, and then the name of the property. Now, and inside this div we have to create paragraphs. Okay, you can create any tag, but inside div you have to use some tags, and then you have to apply some ngSwitch cases. Okay, so ngSwitch case, if it is 0, right? So in case of 0, I want to print it 0. If it is not 0, some other number, then I just want to print the exact number. So ngSwitch default. In that case, we can use ngSwitch default, and we can remove this equal sign, and there we can simply use the number. Okay, let us now see. Now it is printing 0, but if we make that to some other number, that is 2, then it is going to print 2 in a number format, right? Even if you want that if there is anything that is 1 also, so you can make a switch here, switch state case, like star ngSwitch case. If it is 2, or let's say 1, so in case of 1 also you want to print that ONE 1, and in rest of the cases it is going to print the number itself. So since it is 2, it is printing number 2, and if it is going to be 1, right, if it is 1, then it is going to print 1, right? So this is how you can utilize ngSwitch. It is similar to the programming like in C# or C or Java. So it is similar to that.